Okay, if we can agree to ignore my hair today, then I'm going to show you some stuff, okay? I am currently going through my childhood trunk, and I've been walking down memory lane, and I just found some things I thought were funny and wanted to show you. So, for one, I have this scrapbook. You know what? Let me flip the camera. Tuesday's scrapbook. Can we just appreciate how I had goats with palm trees and a rainbow fish from my favorite childhood book? And if you know, you know. And ketchup bottle with a hamburger. I love ketchup. And then there's 2 glamour shots of me eating hot dogs. You can judge. That's okay. It's perfectly okay. I love me some hot dogs. I like hot dogs more than I like ketchup. I like hot dogs so much that there are many childhood photos of me eating hot dogs. And that was 2 of them. And here's the thing, for those young viewers out there, someone had to have waited for me to eat this hot dog, take a picture with a film camera, and then pay money to have that developed, and then give to me, that I then thought was so spectacular enough that I decided to put it in a book to commemorate it. There was a lot of steps to get to this point. There was a whole process to get those pictures. It was much more work to get pictures printed out back then. And I'm going through this other scrapbook of mine. Okay, so when I was a little girl, I was terrible at noticing like whenever I was super, super little. I don't remember being very good at noticing details and little stuff. And I had a friend, Lindsay, who was so quick to find 4-leaf clovers all the time. We would sit in the grass and she would just find them over and over and over again. It drove me nuts. And so I practiced, and from there, like whenever I get really fed up with something about myself, I really want to change it. And I've always been that kind of person that's like, if I can be better, I'm going to. So I would sit in the grass. Oh gosh. There for a very long time trying to find 4-leaf clovers, and I trained and practiced my eye to see these 4-leaf clovers. And I think that might have been the jump off point for me to notice things the way I do now. Like, I'm attention to detail, and some of it might be a trauma response, and I know it is. Some of it's a trauma response, but for various things I won't get into. It's not a big deal. It's fine. I'm fine. But being able to see the little tiny details, and you know, that's what's helped me in my artwork nowadays, is because these little games I play with myself where I'll look at something and I think, okay, how many colors are in that area that I'm looking at? What is all of the little things to notice? And I think it all started from that. Anyway, I found 4-leaf clovers. I practiced enough and I got better at it, and I have a whole page dedicated in my, let me flip the camera. I have a whole page dedicated to it, and I tell you what, this is living proof that May 7th, 2004, I found a 9-leaf clover. I kid you not. A story with that is that I got better at finding these 4-leaf clovers. I told some people at school about it. I wasn't treated super great at school. I was bullied. It's all right. I mean, it's not okay, but I'm okay. But I was trying to fit in, and I told everybody, like, oh, I found a 9-leaf clover. And just like kids do, they didn't believe me. And they're like, bring it to school, prove it. And I'm like, well, I have it. And they were like, what? Because they just thought, oh, bring it to school, prove it. I bet you don't have it. And I'm like, I do actually have it. And they're like, no, I did. You can, I mean, I proved it to you. Right down there. I glued it because I was so worried that taping might somehow, because some of them I taped. Some of these I taped. But that one I glued because I was really careful with it. So I put a bunch of glue down and then I laid it down as carefully as I could so you can see every single leaf. And I had my mom count it. I held it by the stem and was like, okay, well, I counted it so many times, and it is a clover. It is a clover because it was in a clover patch. It came from the same root system of other clovers. The leaves have the shaping of the clovers. They're the color of the clovers. You're not going to convince me that it's not a clover because I could be pretty type A and OCD even as a kid. So I made sure that it was a 4-leaf clover, because if I said it was a 9-leaf clover, it needed to be a clover. Sure enough, it has 9 leaves. And I told them that I had it and they didn't believe me. They're like, bring it to school. And I'm like, no, with how you guys treat me, you'd tear it up. So I didn't. I told them, like, I don't care. This was 2004, so I would have been in 4th grade. 4th grade, 10. Yeah, be about 10. And I told him, like, I know you. I know how you treat me. You're just going to tear it up if I bring it. So I did not bring it. And I told him, like, I care so little about being believed about this that I'm not even going to bother bringing it. I'm going to keep that forever. And I've still got it. 20 years later, I still got it. It's still right there. But I have other things in my scrapbook, and I'm not going to show you everything. But I showed you the hot dogs. I showed you the 9-leaf clover. But I found some of my artwork from whenever I was younger. And I haven't drawn very much Native American stuff. I'm Native American. I don't look like it. I'm aware. Trust me. I went to Native camp. I don't know how to say it. I mean, it truly was. I'm in a tribe. And my tribe hosted a camp for kids, and they probably still do it. And I went to this camp. It was little Indian camp, and most of the kids, like 90% of the kids, looked native. Like dark hair, dark skin, dark eyes, just beautiful. Not that I'm not, but there were many times as a kid that I really wanted to look native. I really wanted to look actually Native American and not like my Irish ancestors. Anyway, I found a picture that I made of a Native American whenever I was younger. I didn't date it, and it's not great. I'm aware. I just think it's interesting that, like, and this goes for you youngsters out there, pay attention to what excites you. Pay attention to what you like, and if you see yourself repeating patterns, it's a good thing to notice, because when you are trying to figure out who you are as a person and trying to figure out what you like, think about those repetitive patterns. Think about those things that you keep coming back to. I kept drawing. I kept making things. I've always been like a builder with my hands, putting stuff together, crafting, putting things together with my hands, not like an engineer, but just like on this page, I made a little envelope system to put my artwork in. And speaking of that artwork, I found one of my first abstracts as a child. Not terrible. Very interesting. Very pastel-y feeling with some black. Black kind of throws it off, but I was experimenting with colors, I'm sure. But see, in my art career, if you even want to call it a career. I've been doing artistic stuff my entire life. Since I could hold something to color or paint, I've been doing it. And I had so many art kits as a kid that my mom that my mom got me as I was growing up. Anyway, in my art career, I have always wanted to do very particular fine art where it was super detailed, like a hyper realism. That's what I wanted for myself. And I'm not perfect at it. I wouldn't even say I'm great at it. I can get some realism. I'm good at realism if I work for many, many hours. But honestly, what I'm better at is the things that I'm drawn to, like abstract. And it does take some skill to do abstract. It's not just a medium or a way that people do art that aren't talented. And a lot of art isn't necessary. Like, it's very rare if it is like a true talent. Everybody's an artist. And if you create something, if you make something, you're an artist. And it's practice and muscle memory that it very rarely is artistic. Sorry, I'm fumbling my words. It's very rare that an artist is truly just talented. A lot of the time, it is hard work, it is dedication, it is putting in the hours, and it is working hard. And I have done abstract stuff my whole life, and I kept feeling bad that I wasn't fitting into this genre or this niche of hyperrealism. And I had to sit back and think, okay, what are the patterns in my life? What are the things that I've been really drawn to that come easy to me, that because they're easy to us, they think it's easy. We think it's easy for everybody. And when you get into that headspace where you're like, oh, well, this is just easy, everybody can do this, I think it ruins the specialness of your uniqueness. Because if you think, oh, everybody can do this, this isn't that special, then you don't appreciate you, and that's what you can do. That is your talent. That's what you're drawn to. And that was one of those things I had to step back and realize, okay, I'm drawn to abstract. I am drawn to, obviously, hot dogs. That was just a joke from earlier, because I had 2 pictures of me eating hot dogs in a scrapbook. First page, by the way. It was the first page. Anyway, I'm drawn to abstract. I'm drawn to putting things together and just playing and having fun. And that's kind of where my art leads today. Speaking of my art, it's just so interesting how things turn out. The fact that I'm an artist today isn't really that shocking, because I was always doing something artistic, and I was always reading books as a kid. I always had a pretty decent reading level. I read Little Women in like 4th grade. Was it 4th grade? 3rd or 4th grade. I just always had my nose in a book, or I was acting like an absolute heathen and pretending I was like a warrior knight outside, or I was painting. I or pretend I was a spy, or I was acting out my stories. That was a lot of what I did. I would come up with a story, and then I would act it out as a kid, and I would like play with how the different characters would react to certain things, and play again. That was what I was drawn to. And look, now I'm a writer, and I am writing out these stories that I come up with and play with the characters in a different way now. I don't act them out now, but I made this as a kid. It's not dated, but I would assume this was whenever I was 10, because it's in the same scrapbook as the 4-leaf clover that I found May 7th, 2004. But it reminds me so much of this that I got from my honeymoon. Let me put these side by side. It's not identical, obviously, but isn't that kind of wild? 10 years old, drawing stuff that ended up showing up later in my life. think that's kind of cool. Anyway, this video is getting kind of long. I don't even know if I'm going to bother editing it and just post it as a little get to know me more, because I was looking through this and I thought it was so funny. I'm like, you know what? I could share this with my online buddies if anybody even wants to watch me ramble for 15 minutes now. But all right. Until I find something to show you next time. Bye. Oh, comment below if you like this kind of thing. Obviously I talked about writing, I talked about art a little bit. I know this page it's a niche page. This is about writing, it's about art, and I try to stick to that. I have posted a few reels where I'm doing something funny. Like I'll be making a video for an art video or a writing video, and I would just do something silly, and I'm like, okay, this is funny, I want to share it with everybody. So there's been a couple times where I've shown like funny clips, and then I had a testimony that I shared a month or so ago. I'm recording this June 3rd, so I think it was probably about a month and a half ago I shared a testimonial video. Otherwise, like, I stick to art and writing, and I don't know if this would be considered a vlog. I don't know. This is just a little funny thing. I found some funny things and I wanted to show them to you. So comment below if this is something that you like. You definitely get to see a different side of me than sitting in front of a camera trying to remember my script, which I now understand the difficulties of being a YouTuber, and I'm not complaining. It's just, I'll know what I'm going to talk about. I know what I'm going to talk about. I turn the camera on and I'm like, I have to sometimes write out a script for myself so that or make bullet points so I can keep myself on track, because as soon as I turn the camera on, I'm like, what am I doing? What am I saying? Oh. Anyway, I've already said this a couple times, but again, just let me know if this is the type of thing that you would like to see on occasion. Rarely, you know. Rarely. But at least you get to see some of my quirks and get to see me as a person and not just someone who reads a script and just tries to tell you facts about writing and art. I have no idea if I'm likable. Like this video if you think I'm likable. Or don't. Never mind, don't do that. My self-esteem doesn't need that. I have pretty okay self-esteem. I don't need anybody to try to boost it or lower it in any way. Never mind. Don't like the video if you think I'm likable, or do, because you're allowed to do whatever you want. Okay, I'm done. Bye.